Good day to all you hockey fans out there. It is February 8th, and you are listening to the one, the only Talking Puck podcast. I'm Sean Coles, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Lake, and we're going to kick off the show as we normally do with a quick rundown of how the week has been for the Canadian teams, and we'll start off as we normally do with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, man, they had a hell of a week last week. Just awful. Oh my God, losing... They gave up 22 goals in four games. It's been a long time since I've seen them that bad defensively.
And in his last 3 games, Anderson's like 1-1-1, and he's got like a 5 or 6 goals against average, and
it's bad.
In his last 4 games, he hasn't had a save like a save percentage higher than like 870 or something like that.
Yeah, and which is weird because he had 2 shutouts going into the All-Star break, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened, bud? But some of the goals, yes, he's at fault for, and maybe not picking up rebounds like he normally would. But the Leafs have not been good defensively.
Well, and that's the thing is he's letting 5 goals in, but if you look, like against the Bruins, it was against like 41 shots or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you look at other teams, it's not like it's 5 goals on 21 shots. It's 5 or 6 goals or 4 goals on 32 shots. So,
well, and the defensemen aren't clearing away the rebounds either, which is part of the reason. I know the Boston game, that was an entertaining game, but like a lot of those goals were coming off rebounds that probably should have been cleared. Were the defensemen in the proper spot?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like we were talking about earlier where he might be tired because he's not used to the full load for the whole season, right? Not only was he, splitting the season with Gibson, but he was also behind a more sound defensive team in Anaheim.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, maybe if it's just a longer season wearing on him or what, but...
That's possible, but he's going to have to figure it out quick because they have a busy month, to say the least.
Well, was it McElhinney played last night? He let like 1 goal on like almost 40 shots last night. So
yeah, he had a good game. He's been a really good backup, but with Babcock in charge, there is not going to be a goalie controversy.
Oh no, not at all.
At this point, Anderson's going to be back.
McElhinney's not really a starter. He's more of just a solid backup, anyways.
And this is the shocking thing: out of 25 wins that the Leafs have this season, only 3 of them have come from the backup.
Oh, and 2 of them I think are McElhinney, and I think
one is Bebo.
Yeah,
so that is not good enough, clearly. But and that might be maybe part of the reason if Anderson is tired is that he played so much in the first half of the season because there was no one else to play
so much and facing that many shots when your defense isn't really getting it out of the way. Well, they were better in the first half, but at the same time, there was a lot of games where he was facing 37, 38 shots, right? So,
hey, and you know what? Some goalies thrive off that.
Oh, Luongo.
Luongo. I remember Jonathan Bernier as well when he was in Toronto. He always played the best when he was facing like 50-plus shots.
That was like Luongo when he played for Florida the first time. He'd face 40, 50 shots a game, he let in 1. He'd go to Vancouver, he'd face 17 shots, he let in 4.
And, they played really well against Dallas last night and played pretty solid defensively. Yeah, people were going on, Dallas still had their chances and they outshot them. It's like, well, you know what? A lot of their shots came in the third period when the Leafs were leading. So that stands to reason that, they're going to have a few more shots on net because they're trailing. Now, it was good to see them kind of tighten up defensively after the previous 4 games, but, it's something they got to continue. And with the young star power that they've got, I think they're going to be at least knocking on the door of the playoffs. They should be making the playoffs.
They should
at this point.
Although the Eastern Conference, especially with the Metropolitan Division, it is a really tough division. So if they're going to make the playoffs, it's either going to be the last wild card spot or they're going to have to fight for one of the top 3 there.
At this point, they'll be lucky to get the last, either top 3 or last wild card spot because Philly's not doing too well last time I checked the standings. But speaking of the playoff spots there, the top 3, Montreal's position there is not looking as secure as we maybe thought it was even a week and a half ago.
No, and Carey Price has been a little bit more normal. He's only got 3 wins in his last 10 games.
You mean Carey Price is human? Oh my God.
He's been, the whole team really, the whole team's only been, they haven't been averaging as many shots per game or as many goals per game. So the games they do win, Price is still human, still lets in 3 or 4 goals, but they're scoring more, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's. I was happy last night as a Colorado fan to watch them shut out Montreal 4-0.
Especially with Rantanen getting the hat.
Yeah, that's what that's part of the future right there.
One of the 2 pieces apparently. Actually, speaking of that, I was hearing today actually that apparently Montreal is potentially looking at Duchesne.
Yeah, they've been looking at, and last night was apparently a scouting opportunity for him.
I know they need a center. I don't know that it's Duchesne that they need.
They're looking to up their size down the center. Duchesne's not a big guy.
He's what, maybe 6 feet?
He's like 5'11", 200, I think he is.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, he's not small.
He's got some good size to him,
but he's fast.
Yes,
he's very fast. So
he would fit in well with the Eastern.
But
Conference.
they're looking more like Hansel kind of like bigger 6'3", 6'4" kind of guy. 220, 230. But I don't know what you're going to get. Because from what I was hearing, Colorado's asking price for Duchesne was Sergachev.
Yeah.
Then they were also asking for like a pick
and a first.
And
first round.
And then I think Michael McCarron was the other pick.
See, McCarron I heard was being asked by Arizona.
I heard with Colorado as well.
Yeah. What I was hearing about what Colorado's been asking in that regard was top prospect, like the absolute top prospect, which for Montreal is Sergachev, a young defenseman, and a pick. So the young defenseman would probably be Nathan Boyou.
Oh yeah, Boyou, yeah. One interesting fact that I did find out about the Colorado-Montreal game last night is Calvin Pickard was the first goalie for Colorado to shut out Montreal since the Quebec Nordiques in like 89 or something like that.
Oh man, the weird stats that you find out, eh?
Yeah.
Very odd. And yeah, I don't know, Montreal is just looking so human lately, and it's clear that, and I've said this all along because I've always thought that Carey Price papered over so many deficiencies within the Canadiens team.
Oh yeah, and the way I look at it is everyone's like, "Oh, David Dubnyk's a better goalie than Carey Price." Yes, he might be having a better year, but a few years ago, he was the worst goalie in existence.
Yeah, don't forget, though, that he was playing in Edmonton behind a team that just didn't play defense. And left
but could you imagine Carey Price behind Chicago, or Carey Price behind LA, or Carey Price, you know what I mean? Behind Anaheim.
Yeah, there is something to be said for that. I think for Dubnyk, though, a lot of it was probably mental.
Oh, I'm sure it was, but I'm just saying, all goalies go through slumps.
Yeah.
Carey Price is proven that he is the best in the world, and I don't think that this is going to mean that he's done or he's washed out.
Oh, I don't.
He's going to come back. I think he's just having a rust spell. And I think maybe he's a new father. Maybe it's something at home. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing is that once you have shown yourself to be as out of this world as Carey Price has, it's very hard, I think, to regain that once it loses a bit of its luster. Like with going through this rough patch after sitting out basically an entire season.
That's probably also the thing too, is he hasn't played a whole season, right?
Well, I don't know how much they're playing their backups either.
They're not playing them very often.
They're depending.
Like last night was a game that you'd think that they would have played against Colorado. You think they would have played Montoya.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what Michel Therrien does. I have never been a fan of him. I've always thought that they need to go with someone else, and hey, maybe with Claude Julien, maybe now's the time to move forward with firing Therrien. Get some new blood in there, because from what I was reading today, he is jumbling the lines as much as he can to try and spark something, and nothing's happening.
Yeah, I don't know really what's going on there.
But as we were saying before, speaking of trades. And just moving on to Ottawa here. Today is the 1-year anniversary of Dion Phaneuf getting traded to the Ottawa Senators.
Which is funny because apparently Ottawa might ask Dion Phaneuf to move his no-trade clause for the expansion draft.
And it's funny. I see that literally 2 hours after I've been reading all day. Oh, they're so happy with what he's brought to the table. And then they're going, we're going to ask him to waive that so that he might get taken by Las Vegas. And I get why they made the trade, because I got a lot of money off their books in the short term. They are going to be so screwed down the stretch with that contract.
Yeah, Ottawa. I mean, to be fair, it seems like Phaneuf has been playing better in Ottawa than he did in Toronto for the last little bit.
Second pairing defense,
Right?
Maybe a third, like fourth for sure. Maybe a third.
But my thing is, do they keep any salary if he goes to the expansion draft? I think Vegas has to take all of it because they have to hit the minimum salary, right?
Yeah, and I doubt they would take him, but they might. You never know.
Yeah, and depending on who else they get, they might need the money to bump the salary cap, right?
Exactly. And I don't know, as usual, Ottawa is such an up and down team, but hey, Toronto's tied with them now in the standings, but Ottawa's got another game in hand. But with these games in hand that they have on Montreal, and with the way that Montreal's playing right now, it's not out of the question that they could catch Montreal in the standings.
Well, I think Montreal has their break coming up soon. I think from what I was reading,
because they played a lot of games.
They play I think they play 1 or 2 more games, and then they get their 5 days off or whatever. So maybe they'll get caught, maybe they won't. Who knows?
Well, if they go on that bye and Ottawa manages somehow to win 3 straight games in I think at least 3 or maybe 4 games that they have in hand on Montreal,
they'll be right up there tied.
They're right up there with them, which no one thought would have happened, but they're getting half decent goaltending, until the other night when they got totally shelled.
Yeah, they got shelled by the Sabres, but the Sabres, did you see last night they were down 4-1 in the third period and they came back and won?
Yeah, well, the Sabres are finally starting to turn it on a bit because they are healthy.
Yeah, that's a problem that they've had for years, is injuries.
Well, it's probably with stuff like Evander Kane scoring the goal, losing an edge and going head first in the boards. That doesn't really tend to help that. But with Ottawa, it's going to be an interesting situation. Anderson, I think, is slowly making his way back.
Yeah, he's back. He's just practicing and whatnot, but he's back for the remainder of the season now. So
yeah, well, and I know he was asked whether or not they've talked about an AHL conditioning stint, which is maybe not a bad plan. Get him into a couple of games that, well, it's in the minors. They don't really matter as much as the big club. But he said they haven't discussed that, so who knows what's going to happen there. They'll probably throw him right in, and it'll probably be brilliant as usual. But they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with him long term. Yeah. Because at this point, do they keep Condon in the expansion draft, or do they keep Anderson? Do they protect Anderson? And I don't think they should.
Condon's the younger goalie.
Yeah, exactly. I think Condon's got more longevity to him, and maybe even a bit more upside. So who knows what's going to happen, right?
Well, pretty much. I don't see Anderson getting any better than he is. He's pretty much peaked, right? So you've seen the best of him. So I mean, Condon's still a young goalie. He's kind of unproven in the league. So technically there could be a higher upside, right? So
could be. And you know what? If they go that route, I don't think anyone should be surprised.
No,
some people might be surprised, but I don't think they should be. But moving it along, we will move on to the Winnipeg Jets, who, as usual, are just middling around 500. Yeah, and the interesting thing I think was last night they played. Laine was benched.
Yeah,
for half the game.
He was the way they were explaining it was he wasn't benched. They were limiting his minutes.
Yeah, whatever. Coach speak for benched.
One thing that I find interesting for them being sub 500 is I was reading a stat today that they're the only team in the NHL with 4 players with 40 plus points.
Yeah, because
it's the one line.
The only players that score.
Yeah, it's the one line of Scheifele, Laine, and who is it? Is it
Scheifele, Laine, probably Blake Wheeler.
I imagine probably Blake Wheeler, and then there was another one.
Buff is in there.
Yeah,
well.
Someone there was 4. I know Laine and Scheifele were the 2, but. Man, I'm telling you, watching Scheifele get laid out by Nikita Zadorov from Colorado.
Yeah, that was a brutal
And he
hit.
laid out someone else right before that, too. But it was
he had 4 or 5 solid hits.
And the same as last night, too, against Montreal. It's he's finally who the Colorado thought he was, and it was awesome.
Well, for now.
If
he can keep it up, then brilliant. But, you don't see those open ice hits very often. It seems to happen to Winnipeg.
Which is why it seems like Scheifele thought he was okay to keep his head down.
Oh, man. They got to learn. I know it's safer to go through the neutral zone now with speed, but the odd defenseman's still going to step up.
Or guys like Ovechkin.
Yeah, or guys like Ovechkin who just like to hit everything they see.
Like when he hit Yager at the Olympics. You remember that in the open ice and destroyed him? Oh my god!
I don't remember that. No, that's funny.
It was a big hit.
Yeah, I bet. Well, he's a big guy. Holy smokes! And it'll be interesting to see actually if Laine gets to be that size by the end of it. Because I know he's pretty big. He's 6'2",
like
6'3".
Yeah, I think he's like 6'3".
So it'll be interesting to see if he ends up being like the 220, 240 pounds.
That's what, it's a little off topic, but same with Rantanen. He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's big.
He's a big guy.
He's a big boy, that's for sure. That's for sure. But you know what? Winnipeg,
there isn't really much to say.
No, because they keep going the way they're going.
They win 2, they lose 2.
And it's a shame because they should be doing better than they are. And they just can't figure things out. And as I know we've said in the past, to me, I think it just comes down to their lack of goaltending.
Yep.
Like, if they're getting beat 5-2 by the Avs, there's a problem.
But to be fair, the Avs have been turning it on the last few games.
They're still the worst team in the league.
Yes, they are, but in 2 games, they've scored 9 goals.
The Leafs were atrocious last year and still won more than the Avs have, so it stands to reason that they'd maybe get a little bit of a win streak going.
Oh, then that's what I mean. I'm saying it's bad that you lose to the Avs, but the Avs have been slowly playing better hockey than they have all year. Is what I've been trying to say.
They couldn't have sustained a 9-game losing streak for that long. But moving on from Winnipeg to another team that's been rather frustrating, but managed to beat Pittsburgh last night was the Calgary Flames, who again they're sitting in a half decent position to get into
a weak
the
Western Conference, yeah.
Yeah. You know, if I think the only really competitive conference right now, or division, I should say, is the Metropolitan.
Yeah.
Everything else is super weak this year, which, you know, it goes towards what the NHL wants, which is parity, but at the same time, you just get a bunch of teams that aren't really doing that great.
Which is weird, though, because usually the Central Division is always a huge battle, because you get Chicago, you get Dallas, you get all those teams up front.
Dallas is a dumpster fire.
This year, it's weird, because they're always usually perennial playoff teams that are always, on the brink, but they never have a goal.
Patrick Sharp has like 6 goals this year. He's getting paid $5 million plus.
And I'm pretty sure this is his contract year, too.
Yeah, it is. So he will be taking a big pay cut next year, that's for sure, and it most likely.
And apparently with Dallas too is they contacted the Penguins about Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, they have to, and they have to pray to God that Pittsburgh will take either Kari Lehtinen or Antti Niemi back in return. Plus, I'm sure a big pick from them. But just going back to Calgary for a second, they really pushed Pittsburgh last night. It was interesting. Like, even Sidney Crosby had the puck taken off his stick by Ferland, I think. Literally, Ferland took it off him as he was basically walking the line, skated down to the other end of the rink on a breakaway and scored.
Huh.
How often do you see Sid getting mugged like that? That doesn't happen very often.
Usually he's in the corners by the boards and no one can touch him when he's down there. But
that is true. That is true. But you know what? Hopefully Calgary can keep on, pushing, and the more Canadian teams to get into the playoffs, the better. But again, not a ton to talk about in terms of them this week. It's been
real stories.
No, been a quiet week for them. Which, you know what, for a team that isn't doing the greatest, maybe not such a bad thing. But they beat the Wild 5-1.
Yeah, and the Wild are really good. Wild are good this year.
I don't know if Dubnyk played that game though.
But still,
yeah, that's true.
Regardless, that defense is really good.
It is.
Imagine if they still had Brent Burns.
Oh my God, they gotta be kicking themselves over letting him go.
Yeah, but at the same time, he might not have developed into who he is.
His shot in the skills competition was unreal. It was the one from half.
Yeah,
the red line. Oh my God!
Did you see there was like a stat of like goals by goals by teams defensemen, and it was like someone like Philadelphia, some weird team was in. No, Florida was the top team who has the most goals by defensemen. And then it had all 30 teams. And then Burns himself was like the 13th, like alone, more than half the teams. He has more goals than. It was pretty funny.
And that's something that's interesting. Getting a lot of points from your back end. You look at like the Leafs; they get nothing from their back end. Their defense is there to put the puck with the forwards, and that's about it. not much else unless you're Jake Gardner.
But it's not even the fact that they're getting points from the back end. It's that Brent Burns is on pace for 40 goals this year.
He's an unreal player. He is. He's just amazing. Like that, have that kind of skating ability when you are as big and bushy bearded.
Yeah, and he's like 240 pounds or something like that.
At least he's at least that big. He's at least as big as Dustin Bufflin.
I'm just happy he's Canadian.
Yeah, thank God. Like he's the only one that can take on Bufflin.
There's got to be no way that he doesn't make the Olympic roster now. Like he was on the. I know they don't really like that style as Hockey Canada, but
him and Vlasic as a pairing would be pretty good.
Well, because he was on the World Cup of Hockey roster, right? So
yeah, that's true. He was, wasn't he? Yeah. So it provided they go.
Yeah. In
2018. Now.
Apparently, if they don't go in 2018, they might not be going in 2022. I heard as well.
Yeah, which they don't want. If going in 2022 means that they have to go in 2018, they're going to have to go because China is where they want to expand.
Yeah.
Right? But something I heard that was interesting. It was just on TSN. They threw it out for shits and giggles. Is does Mitch Marner make Team Canada?
I did see that.
It's an interesting proposition. Maybe as like the
at this point, I think he's still too young. I think at the next Olympics, I still think there's enough skill out there that, no offense, Marner, that is going to make it before he does.
You know what? I look at it this way. They usually take guys like Claude Giroux or something like that as an additional forward, maybe to add a little extra. Swap out Giroux for Marner.
Yeah, but again, like as much as I can see that happening, Giroux just does have the more experience in the league, right? Like he's got that.
Right now, I would say that Marner's better. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's hard to make that call just off of 5 months, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. But again, another half season under his belt, he's playing well. I think he's going to be there.
Canada, like who Yzerman and all those guys are going to have a.
I don't know that it'll be Yzerman. I think he might be done. But
yeah,
whoever does
Doug Wade or once I don't know some guy with Ken Hitchcock or.
Yeah, who knows with Ken? That's for sure. But anyways, get back to the Canadian teams. Talk quickly about the Edmonton Oilers, who. I don't know. They had kind of a bad week last week, but they're still sitting pretty.
Yeah, they have a good record for the Western Conference. For actually just overall, they have a pretty good record. And
I was reading today that apparently out of all the Canadian teams, they have the best number one line, which for them is McDavid, Maroon, and Draisaitl.
Yeah, well, Draisaitl's been playing phenomenal this year.
Yeah. He's a very good player, and he should be probably playing center at this point. For some reason, they don't have him doing that yet.
Because he's been playing so well on the wing with McDavid.
Yeah, well, and he adds that little two-way touch, I think, that they need.
It was like the first year that McKinnon came in when he didn't play center as he should have. He played wing with Duchesne.
Well, when a rookie's coming in their first year, it is very hard to play center.
Oh, for sure.
Like, and the biggest thing for that is face-offs. Like, you look at Kadri. He's been in the league for, at least 6 years now. He's still not that great on face-offs.
That's funny, because as bad as Colorado is, they're like number 1 or number 2 for face-off percentage.
So apparently winning face-offs does not equate to wins.
And that's because their defense sucks and cannot move the puck.
True. Very true. But, it's interesting to see that Edmonton has progressed as quickly as they did. I know you called it beginning of the year that they were going to be in the playoffs, and right now it's really looking like that's going to be the case. But it's interesting that they've shot up this fast. I know they've made some good moves, solidified the back end a bit. Apparently, actually, though, they might be looking to move Davidson off their defense, because as much as they like him, he's most likely going to get taken.
Right.
In the summer. So that brings up, do you move him now? Do you wait till the draft?
Yeah.
To try and move him? Oh, no, you can't wait till the draft because the expansion draft is before that, isn't it?
So they'd have to pretty much see what they could get come March 1st.
And it sucks, but
they did play well though on, was it Sunday against Montreal? They won 1-0 in a shootout. Oof. And that was a really good game. I mean, both ways. Like, the impressive thing that was awesome this week, I don't know if you saw it, was McDavid was kind of skating around, broke a stick on purpose.
Oh yeah, I went and got it.
Went and got a new one from the trainer who was like super fast to grab it, and then went on a breakaway and scored. I thought that was pretty unique.
That was pretty good. And that's the thing with sticks these days is that it's hard to know when they're going to break, but evidently some players can kind of tell when it's going to happen. Because I saw Austin Matthews do something similar the other night where he broke it, and it was like, give me a new one.
Yeah,
because he obviously did not want
the
it
flex
to explode on
the flex or the stiffness probably feels different. They can probably tell, right?
Yeah, with that kind of skill level and for how much they handle those sticks, you got to think that they would have figured out something by then. But you know what? Hope again, if they can get into the playoffs, great. I don't foresee them progressing very far if they do, but more power to them.
I see maybe them if they max second round exit.
Yeah. Probably, but who knows? We'll have to, again, as we like to say, we'll have to wait and see. And our final Canadian team, the Vancouver Canucks. Honestly, who cares?
Yeah.
Middling team at this point, and I think their stats are probably making them seem like a better team than they actually are. It's a team that's in trouble, and they need to shake things up. But I would say the only interesting thing for them right now is what do they do about Bo Horvat? Because if I'm not mistaken, he is up for
his entry level contract or whatever.
Yeah, I think his entry level's done. They're going to have to give him a contract. And do they give him the max in terms of term and a good chunk of money, or do they give him a bridge deal?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard because he's their top prospect. He's their future. Like he's their. He's their...
Too bad there's not two of them.
Yeah, too bad they don't have anyone else. Yeah, I don't know, because they still have a lot of the Sedin's money too, right? So
yeah, and God knows what's going to happen there, but they're going to have to figure out a way to pay him.
Yeah, because
he needs to be paid.
He's going to have to. Yeah, he's got to. He's their best player. He's going to be their future.
The problem though with being RFA is that you have no leverage.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit out a little bit, and that would really screw them over. But at the same time, that kind of screws you over.
Like
at the same
Jacob
time,
Trouba situation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and to an even more extreme extent, you look at Jonathan Drouin, who sat out almost the whole second half of last season before he kind of reintegrated, and he's been phenomenal since.
Well, he also didn't want to play in the minors, so he just didn't show up.
I don't blame him because his skill level is enough that
he should be in the
NHL. But who knows what the hell's going on with John Cooper and all that? Because that's a whole other set of issues there. But Vancouver, I think, needs to pay him. They need to give him at least $5 million for probably 3 to 4 years, if not more, because he's a center. Centers get paid.
Yep.
And he's going to be that's the thing with these contracts. You're not only banking on what they've done, you are banking on what they are going to do. And Bo Horvat, the way he is trending, is going to be very good and well worth whatever they pay him.
And good centers are hard to come by. Wingers are easier.
Dime a dozen.
So
just come to the Leafs. We got lots. Give you a good deal if you take 3 or more.
Yeah.
But you know what? We'll see how things go with Vancouver. I hope they don't try to be buyers at the deadline, but knowing Jim Benning, they probably will be. But on to some other quick news here. I want to talk quickly about the All-Star game. What were your thoughts on the All-Star weekend in total? Because that's what it is now. It's the All-Star weekend.
Well, yeah, because I enjoy the skills competition. It's fun to watch. The game so much doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it's fun to watch the 3-on-3, but at the same time, it's I enjoy just watching the skills competition. The actual game to me is pretty useless. I mean, I liked it in baseball because in baseball, the All-Star game used to determine home field advantage for the World Series.
Which now it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
They wrote that out.
But it used to have some sort of meaning, right? Now they play for $1 million. That's
yeah, well, and that's what the NHL did was, let's offer him $1 million and see what happens. And I watched the first 2 games. I got angry after the second one because Rask was so awful. God, I was so infuriated. I was like, if Price just stayed in, would have been fine. But no. And oh God. But anyways, I don't know. I used to like it, but I watch it now and I go, this game is pointless.
Yeah.
And God bless Rogers for taking Don Cherry out there. Because he was like, I don't normally come to these things, but I'm going to tell the truth. And he basically went on to say, yeah, this game is shit. These players don't care. They put in the least amount of effort possible because they don't want to be there. They just want to be there and have fun. There's no competitive edge whatsoever.
The one thing was interesting was Sidney Crosby did score his first ever All-Star Game goal.
I thought the funnier part was Subban trying to hold down McDavid.
Yeah.
In the first game, he just like gave him a bear hug.
The highlight for the weekend for me was when what's his name? Ryan Kessler's little son Riker scored.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like I liked how Carey Price kind of made it look like he attempted to make the save, but it
He
would have
knew
been
what he was doing.
100%. He's a really classy guy, but it would have made my day had he have just like swatted the puck or like done something and just get the fuck out of here. Yeah. That would have made my day, but you don't do that to a little kid.
Especially not on national
television. But it's Ryan Kessler's kid. I mean, Ryan Kessler's a dirty prick, so I mean, come on.
Well, that was the thing. Every time he came out on the ice, it was boo.
Yeah. So that's why I think he didn't do any of the shots. He didn't want to get more booed.
Oh, man, that would have been funny. I wish he would have done that just as a joke and then had him go again.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, like I said to you last night, Carey Price is a really classy guy.
Yeah, he is. Most hockey players are.
In general, like, yeah, even, who was it yesterday? Ryan Getzlav, when what's-his-face from the Rangers got hit from behind, he kind of, helped him get back to his bench. But yesterday when Rantanen scored his third goal for his first ever hat trick, McKinnon went to go get the puck, but Price kind of like turned and like picked up the puck and handed it to McKinnon, right? Yeah. Most goalies or most people, I wouldn't. I'd just fucking shoot the puck down the ice. Get the fuck out of here.
Go get it. Hey, you know what? To you and I, that would be a normal thing. But you know what? When it's not your first goal that's been scored on you, you probably take it a little less personally.
Well, and the fact that he knew that it was the hat trick goal too, right? Like instead of just like personally picking it up and handing it.
That's the nice thing about hockey players. They do tend to be, for the most part, a little classier.
Unless you're Brad Marchand.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm betting that Brad Marchand's a pretty classy guy anyway. It's just that he's a pest. Right?
I'm sure off ice he's the nicest guy in the world.
And apparently likes to slew foot everyone because he did that like 2 times in a week.
Apparently he like trains and hangs out with McQuaid and Dion Phaneuf and PEI in the summer.
Interesting. I can see that. Actually, interestingly enough, someone I went to high school with, his neighbors with his mother.
Really?
Yeah, and just outside Halifax, I guess. Which I thought was kind of funny.
Does she also have a giant nose?
She's probably needed a new hip after all the times he slew footed
her.
Oh,
yeah, bro. These aren't tacos?
That would be funny. That would be kind of funny. Oh, God, I can't remember what I was going to say now. It just, going back, though, what Don Cherry was saying is that they put in no effort, and they're even being offered $1 million, which breaks down to like $90,000 each. I'd fucking love $90,000.
Which they probably lose to escrow anyway.
Exactly. But and it was funny because he was saying the top prospects game, which is for all the CHL players, they it's kind of like their all-star game, right? He's like, you watch them, they are going to be out busting their ass. And I watched the game and they were. It was a great game.
Oh yeah.
But they still have something to play for. The NHL players don't.
No, not at all.
They have their own teams to play for. They don't really want to go. So it kind of begs the question, why are they still trying to get the All-Star game to be a thing? You get like basketball, you can kind of do it. You just end up scoring like 200 points.
It turns into more of like a slam dunk fest.
Oh, exactly.
It's enjoyable to watch that way.
Exactly. But then you get stuff like the Pro Bowl, right? With I think it's the Pro Bowl,
yep,
right?
With the NFL, yep.
Where that's a pretty physical game. Do you think any of them really want to hit each other?
Yeah, especially when their seasons are already over and they're waiting for next year. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like the main reason why the NHL does it is, one, whatever town or city holds it brings lots of money to them.
Yeah.
It does kind of show off the skills of the guys, but they don't. I feel like they should just do the skill competition, and then that's it. I used to love when. Do you remember when they had the? Was it the sophomores versus like the rookie?
Yeah,
game?
that was awesome.
That was like it was like the first year guys versus like the second year guys. I loved when they had that.
But you know what? Actually, they should do it where it's guys still on their entry levels against like the big name guys.
Yeah,
and do 3-on-3 that way. I think that would be far more competitive, and I hope they look at something like that.
Different ways to kind of make it more exciting.
Exactly, because I didn't even watch the last game, which was apparently the most competitive of the three, but I was like, I can't do this. This is wasted 2 hours of my life already. I don't need to watch it.
I didn't even watch it, to be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, you did. You missed nothing. Although, once PK Subban is done with his playing career, I hope he goes into broadcasting.
He's like during the All-Star competition, like the skills competition, when he was like commenting, he was great. He
was fantastic doing that.
He'd be a great color commentator. I don't say that because he's black.
But and then they get Carey Price on there, and he's so.
But if you ever have interviews with Carey Price, that's who he is. He's very quiet and he's very personal. And there's actually a video where he gets picked up by this guy, for sail fishing or whatever, and he goes out and like near Montreal and goes fishing.
Yeah,
I've never seen an interview with Price where like unlike that one where he's having fun, he's laughing, he's making jokes, but he's when it's hockey, he's serious, and that's just the way he is.
I want to bring this up just for going back to what you were saying about Carey Price being a class act, and I say most NHL players are, not so much about other sports. Some basketball players entertain me in that way, and especially something that I saw, I think it was today, where it was LeBron James who. It was in Cleveland, and this guy was doing like a shot from half court.
And he rushed him.
$75,000. Yeah, he comes over, like gives him a hug,
lays on the ground.
Like tackles him.
As much as I don't like LeBron James, but that's for other reasons.
Yeah, I don't like him as a player, but he's a classy guy.
Oh yeah, except for the fact that the only reason why I don't say he's classy to fans, whatnot, but they're paying over $60 million above the cap, so his owner is paying a luxury tax every year, and he's demanding that the owner go out and get another playmaker so they can be competitive.
Yeah, but he wants one of the expensive guys to go.
But at first he wanted to just bring in someone else.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not the one paying the luxury tax at the end of every year.
Yeah, but he's also the guy that kind of brings in all the fans.
Yeah, but I mean
he makes some money.
He's no Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan could won 6 titles. Didn't have to bring in the Kyle, you know what I mean? The Kyrie Irvings, the friggin' the Kevin Loves and all these guys. Didn't have to attract them. The Dwayne Wades, the Chris Bosches. That's another topic. I could go on.
And for a hockey podcast, we are getting super off topic with that. But yeah, anyways, going back to top prospects, it was great to see all those young players playing. Honestly, I don't know much about what's going on with junior players right now and for the last couple of years, I've paid tons of attention. Mainly because it was less depressing than watching the Leafs,
right?
And because I knew that the Leafs might be getting a couple.
One of these top prospects was going to be selected within the first or fifth pick the Leafs had.
Now it's you that should be paying attention, but most likely it'll be like Nolan Patrick or Nico Hischier.
Which I mean, you take Nolan Patrick if he's available, but Colorado needs defense more than anything.
Yeah, defense.
But there isn't really too much. Like, there's no real amazing defenders this year in the draft. Like this is a pretty weak draft compared to previous
the last
years.
2 years.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been just outrageously strong. And it's funny because I was thinking about Boston the other day, and remember the other year, I think it was 2015 when they took the 3 players in the third and
they failed
13,
their
14,
physicals.
15.
Those guys, like
one of them, Senishin, I think his name is. He's a pure sniper. He's doing pretty well in, I think it's the OHL. And then you get Jake DeBrusk, who I think plays for Brandon out west, and he's doing fairly well there. But they didn't take players like Matt Barzal, who was obviously at World Juniors and unbelievable player that maybe they could have used, but no.
And that's part of the whole Claude Julien firing.
And Travis Konechny.
Yeah.
2 players that are better than what you have, and you missed out
Speaking
somehow.
of, didn't he hurt himself yesterday?
He's out for like 6 to 8 weeks or something like that, which is going to kill
But
Philly.
Speaking of the whole Claude Julien firing, it wasn't so much his coaching style, it was bad managing. The management misjudged players that they drafted, and Claude Julien had so much that he had to work with, and I mean, he's not going to be unemployed for long. He's still a great coach,
and that was the best thing about Babcock. He's like, you're not going to find a better coach.
No,
he basically told Boston, You guys fired.
You guys fucked up.
A great coach, and you're not going to have anyone better.
Yep.
Which I think is just hilarious. And what I would find even funnier is if he becomes an assistant coach with Toronto. Not going to happen.
No,
he's going to go
wouldn't.
somewhere. He is going to go somewhere.
And it makes me think, too, that Ken Hitchcock, I don't think he's done. I think he's going to go somewhere else.
Totally.
I just think he wanted to be done out of St. Louis, so he said he was retiring.
Well, and they brought in Mike Yeo, I think it is.
Mike
but
Yeo
he was going to be the coach next year anyways.
Yeah, regardless.
So it's not totally out of the picture that Hitchcock got fired. But it's crazy. Within like a week or a week and a bit, you get Ken Hitchcock fired. And that is flat out Doug Armstrong's fault.
Oh, yeah.
For not having a better goalie for him. And it's to the point where you almost might as well put in Marty Brodeur.
Yeah.
Get him in shape and throw him in because Jake Allen's just been awful.
Jake Allen's been terrible.
He has. And again, a lot of that's mental, and he's just not used to the pressures of being number one, yada, yada, yada. But
you're an NHL goalie. You should be better than that.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's going to be interesting to see where they end up. I feel like one of the two of them will end up in Las Vegas. But again, you got three excellent coaches now out there between Gerard Gallant, Claude Julien, and Ken Hitchcock.
Yep.
Like, you got to think that some teams are looking at that now going, do we make a change now?
Yeah, and like, for example, like Winnipeg.
Yeah, and this is the thing. We both thought that Paul Maurice would be gone.
But according to Winnipeg, that his job's safe. But if you have
because what's going on with that team is not exactly his fault,
right? But if you have guys like Gerard Gallant or Ken Hitchcock or Claude Julien, I'm sorry, but any one of those is an instant upgrade from Paul Maurice.
Yeah, you know what? With when it comes to Paul Maurice, I'm always kind of wary to say that he's a terrible coach.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not as good as those other guys.
But again, we've never really seen his full potential because
of the players he has.
He's never had a good goalie.
Yeah.
Like, his goalies are never, I think, above maybe a 9.1 or a .91 save percentage. So you know what? It'll be interesting to see where they all end up. But you know what? I think we've probably hit the end of our time for today. And follow us on Twitter at TalkingPuckP and subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play. And thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.